What is up, everybody? Let me pull up the chat here. What is up? It is, hold on, I'm getting too excited for my microphone. It is, it is, that's 3 dB down. It is Friday. 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 Thank God it's Friday. If you are younger, you may not know that phrase, but it just speaks to getting through another week of work. And hopefully, if you work Monday through Friday, maybe 9 to 5, and you have Saturday and Sunday off, that those are the people we're talking to. Thank God it's Friday. If you're like me, I work a little bit on Saturday. I'm constantly working on whatever it is, new content, things like that. I teach a few students on Saturdays. I work with my student bands on Saturdays for a couple of hours. So it's not a full work day by any means. Friday is the same way. I have a few students that I work with on Fridays. And actually this week, because my students are off from school, we've done a little bit of an earlier time this week, and throughout all week long, where I can see my students earlier during the day. So I'll have Friday night tonight to myself. I'll have Saturday night, and then Sunday, and then Monday I'm off because of the holiday, because of New Year's Day. So, and the same with last week, Monday being Christmas, I had Christmas Day off as well. So back to back long weekends for MarkZDrums. But I am still here toiling away at MarkZDrums Studios, having fun, creating stuff, working on my online drumming course, doing the Drumcast, creating tons and tons of holiday drum covers for all to enjoy. There's probably going to be more coming. I got to tell you, even though Christmas is over, I really had fun with it this year, and on my YouTube channel and also on my Patreon channel, there are a bunch of different kinds of Christmas covers that I did this year that are an expansion of the previous years. So included in those were the Trans-Siberian Orchestra songs that I had been doing for the past few years for fun, and then added in, just because it was the feeling of this Christmas this year, added in some classics, some contemporary Christmas songs, some newer Christmas songs, just a nice variety and cross-section of Christmas songs. So if you're curious about that, interested in that, go ahead to MarkZDrums on YouTube or MarkZDrums on Patreon, and check out my latest Christmas offerings. The series this year has been titled Christmas Jammies. That's what I'm going to be doing from here on out, year after year, around Christmas time. I will be doing a series called Christmas Jammies, which will be me jamming to classic Christmas songs, or really any Christmas songs that strike my fancy, or Christmas songs that I have received requests for. As a matter of fact, this year I received a request to do Heat Miser, Snow Miser song, and I did it on a live Drumcast, but I think I was unable to find the original song. So I was actually shocked to find out how many different versions of that song have been done by various artists over the years. So the original is what I'm after and I'm looking for, and I think I'm still going to probably re-record that song with the original for everybody to hear, because it really is a fun song. And it's funny too, because when growing up like I did on those animated shows, when you think about that song, you have a certain memory of it, but then when you actually listen to it, I was struck by how much fun that song was. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. But anyway, I've done Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses, Deck the Halls by Nat King Cole, Little Drummer Boy by Bing Crosby, um, Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. On an earlier Drumcast, I did the Billy Squire, Christmas is the Time to Say I Love You. The one of the newer ones, the Kelly Clarkson, uh, Underneath the Christmas Tree, I think it's called. So many great songs. Last Christmas by Wham, all of that stuff. And we are still in the season. I plan on celebrating Christmas probably until February, right? I think I'm going to take the whole month of January to celebrate Christmas. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But anyway, Louis has been wearing his Santa suit, but he worked his way out of it one night, and I have to put it back on him. But first, I'm taking all his hair off. The co-host of the Mark Z Drumcast will be losing all his hair later today, but that's a good thing. Okay, that's a good thing. So anyway, I want to wish you all happy holidays. Let me introduce myself. Let me do a proper introduction. And also, at the end of this Drumcast, I'm going to be hopping on Twitch for a little while. So hopefully some of you listeners, viewers will join me over there. I love the Twitch community. I've been trying to get more content up on Twitch, and I'm working on that. So I'll be jumping over to Twitch after this show. So I am Mark Zapata. I am the owner and founder of Mark Z Drums and the host of the Mark Z Drumcast, which comes to you on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays around midday, we'll say. Because it's really amorphous, the start times of these shows. But the good news is, it's like being having a show on your DVR. You could watch it at any time by going to the Mark Z Drums channel on YouTube or Mark Zapata Drums on YouTube. You could also go to my Patreon for exclusive content that nobody else can see at Mark Z Drums on Patreon. But any support is appreciated. A like, a subscribe, a follow, a share. All of that stuff is great. A comment, a thumbs up, all of that stuff is great. Today, the subject of the last few shows, and I think it's very, very important to recognize. There's Louis right outside the door. It's very important to recognize how we're feeling around these times of this time of the year, and to be aware of our mood, and how we're feeling. I know that I can experience a low mood. I can experience some downtime, feeling down and feeling blue, however you want to call it, during this time of the year. And so I gave a few tips on one of my earlier Drumcasts. So I'm not going to go through all of those tips again, but there's a couple of things in particular that I really want to draw attention to. And that's the fact that I think that a lot of times when we're feeling stressed, we're feeling anxious, we're feeling overwhelmed, the one of the biggest things that we do is we kind of stop taking care of ourselves. And I think that that's one of the things that happens to us that does not help us at all, right? If we're looking to kind of combat those feelings and trying to feel better, then not taking care of ourselves is the worst thing to do. So I want to draw our attention to how we tend to maybe kind of put our needs to the side when we're feeling like this. We may be feeling not important enough to do these things or to take care of ourselves, but believe me, we are. We always are good enough, and we always deserve self-care. We always deserve to take the time to do things for ourselves, healthy things for ourselves, take care of ourselves, right? That's what we need to do. So 2 things I'm going to bring up before we get to any drumming. Number 1 is hydration. I think it's one of the easiest things to overlook, and one of the things that we often do overlook. We don't drink enough water. I purposefully, when I moved into this house and established the MarkZDrums Studios here, I went out and I rented a cooler that sits in my kitchen, and I get a 5-gallon a bottle of water to put in it, and I get a few of those a month, and it provides me with clean, cold, crisp water. And the one that I have will also dispense molten lava if you would like. Out of the other side for ramen, for soup, for instant coffee, hot cocoa, any of that stuff, oatmeal, things that require super hot water. This thing, I don't even know how it does it, but it dispenses almost steam. Just a tick before steam is what comes out of this thing. It's so hot. So that's a great thing to have. Or even something in your fridge that you fill up from the tap. It filters your water. You're drinking clean, filtered water. But hydration is super important. It really does affect how we feel. If we are dehydrated, our mood can suffer. It can affect our mood in a negative way. And hydration is an easy thing to do and take care of. It's just a matter of remembering and taking that time to do it for ourselves and making it important, making ourselves a priority. The second thing, believe it or not, is breathing. And you might say, yeah, well, duh, I'm alive, so that means I'm breathing. Yes, that's true. But are we truly breathing? I know if you've ever been in an anxious state, the breath is very shallow, and we may be kind of living in that kind of situation if we're feeling down, if we're feeling stressed, if we're feeling anxious around the holidays. Think about taking in deep breaths. They talk about deep breathing. If you look at any of these yogis or anybody that is an expert in relaxation, the first thing they say is breathe, right? So we have to breathe. We have to take in a deep breath, hold it for, 5 seconds. I've seen people talk about a specific number of seconds to hold it. You blow your breath out for a number of seconds. You take your breath in for a number of seconds. You can go ahead and look that up. I'm not going to say exactly how to do that, but just breathe in. Hold it and breathe out. It immediately feels better, right? I immediately feel different when I breathe in and I breathe out immediately, okay? If you do it too much, you might get a little lightheaded, but that's not a bad thing either. If you're sitting down, you take a few deep breaths, feel that little tingle in your brain. You're oxygenating your brain, right? So just make sure that you're breathing deeply at times. It helps us to relax. It helps us when let's say when we're playing drums, especially for you singers out there. Breathing is a technique. You need breath to be able to sing, to be able to use your instrument. You need that breath. So one of the things you learn when you study and you learn how to sing properly is you learn how to breathe. Same thing with drums. If you're playing a show, you're playing an extended practice session, you're really going to town, you're working up a sweat, you're getting some exercise, don't forget to breathe. It's going to increase your stamina. It's going to increase your endurance. It's going to make everything feel easier. It's going to get the oxygen into your blood, to your muscles where it's needed. All right, so these are a couple of things. Breathing, hydration, okay? I also talked about cooking yourself some good, fresh, nutritious food. Try to eat healthy. Try to feed yourself good, homemade food. I know that's difficult too. I struggle with that at times as well. But I know that when I have groceries in the house and I'm cooking, I feel so much better overall. Number one, I'm saving money. Number two, I'm cooking food that tastes better than most anything else I'm getting out there, unless I'm going to a nice restaurant. But on the day-to-day, if you're out there and you're picking up fast food and you're grabbing stuff, this and that and the other thing, it's not going to be better than what you can cook at home. Plus, cooking for yourself is a very, very self-caring type of activity, right? I've heard people say, and I think it's very, very true, the most loving act that you can do for another is to feed them. So like you know when you have a friend that's struggling, come on over, let's have dinner, right? And you invite them over, you cook them a meal, you feed them, and it helps because you are doing something that's very loving and kind for another person. So anyway, that is that. The other thing if you are a drummer and you are actively working and trying to improve and get better, our drums hold the key to so much because, number one, playing our drums can help to take the focus off the things that we may be thinking about that may be bothering us. The worries, a lot of times the anxiety, the depression, it's about worry. It's finances, it's this, it's that, it's a relationship, it's a family member. All of these things can weigh on us. So playing drums is a way to take the focus off of the things, get out of our heads, whatever we're thinking about, put it aside for a little while. I often tell my students when they come into their lessons, and we usually do a few minutes of chatting, catching up. How is your week? What's going on? Anything happening? And they can tell me what's going on. And sometimes they want to tell me about something that's bothering them, something that happened in school, something that happened at home. It's a very important time in my lessons, I've found, to just have a little conversation with the student, talk about their week, and let them kind of tell you what's going on. And then I explain to them that their lesson can be a place where they can leave all of that stuff outside the door and come in and have fun playing drums and learn and concentrate on the drums. And then when you go back out, you can pick those problems back up if you want to and go about your day. But you can come in and kind of get away from these outside things, shut everything out for a little while, and focus on your drumming. Just like I talked about in an earlier show, puzzling, coloring in a coloring book, writing a journal or writing a story, doing some artwork, doing some drawing, can help us. Painting, all right? If you're into painting, it's a relaxing type of activity because it allows us to focus on something other than our thoughts and what's going on in our heads. So drumming is really great for that. Besides the physical aspect of drumming, which is known to have relaxing properties, they say exercise, going to the gym, going for a walk, doing something physical, working up a sweat is also a good way to bring down that stress and anxiety level and elevate our mood because it releases feel-good chemicals in our brains. Playing, the physical activity, the blood is pumping, the blood is flowing. We're getting those feel-good chemicals in our brains. Our mood gets better. We feel better. When we start to feel better, we're able to do maybe other things that can then also elevate our mood. If we're feeling a little better, maybe we feel better enough to go jump in the shower, go do a load of laundry, get some dishes done, write a short story, call a friend, whatever it is. We can build upon some activities that can help our mood and then go do something else. And before you know it, we're feeling pretty good. One of the other things, if you have a pet, my co-host over here, he is all about the cuddles and the snuggles, and it releases feel-good chemicals in our brains and our pets' brains. When we hold our pets, we cuddle them, we talk to them, we spend time with them, we get close to them. That's also a very helpful thing too. For those goldfish owners out there, maybe not so much, but if you have a cuddleable pet, that is very, very helpful. Okay, so anyway, drumming. That's what this Drumcast is about, the MarkZ Drumcast. It is about drumming. First of all, I want to thank everybody who's been watching the MarkZ Drumcast and the videos I've been posting on my YouTube channel. I've been seeing a lot of great feedback, new followers coming on. If you are a new subscriber, welcome. Thank you. A bunch of you have jumped on board over the past couple of weeks, and I appreciate that. I was complaining on the last show about Facebook and all of that stuff, and I think maybe I figured out what the issue might have been, and it's just in the way that I am sharing my content. I cannot share things directly, videos and things like that of me playing copywritten material. I cannot share that directly. But I will be posting more links on my social media to my YouTube channel and to my Patreon. I will be linking the content on those platforms to my Facebook, because I cannot no longer post directly to Facebook. Okay, that might have been one of the problems. But anyway, thank you all who've jumped on board. And listen, when I'm going live, I know it's at a rough time of the day. Most people are working. It's midday. My schedule is a little bit different from most. Whereas I teach in the afternoons into the evenings, and I create during the day. So this is when I can come on and do my show. But sometimes on Fridays I can do a late night version, or a prime time, let's say a prime time version, a happy hour Drumcast, if you will. But not today. Today the schedule works out that I am here midday. And so let's talk about drums, right? If you are an aspiring drummer, then let's go ahead and talk about building foundations. That's what we need to do in every way, shape, and form. A couple of cliches. We have to walk before we run. Okay? We have to jump before we can fly. I don't know if that's even a thing. But the idea is that we need to build a solid and strong foundation. And the foundational stuff may not be super glamorous to young students out there or new students out there, regardless of age. Because I was just having a conversation with one of my favorite students who is not a young person, but an adult, an established adult. And sometimes the mindset of an adult, well, not sometimes, all the time, the mindset of an adult is very different than that of a child's. So there's a lot of stuff to get past in an adult when we are teaching them something new, like drums. Their way of thinking is very, very different than a child. A child is very open to everything that you want to show them and teach them and tell them. Adults tend to be more skeptical. Adults tend to take what you're telling them and the ideas and matching it up against their own experience and deciding whether or not it's viable, instead of just taking it and saying, hey, well, you know what, you're the teacher. Although I do have a student who's older than I am who says to me all the time, well, you're the maestro. And he allows me to do what I need to do in the lesson with him, and he listens to my direction, and he's been having great results and great success. So building the foundation is super, super important. First of all, the first building block is your hands. We need to hold our sticks correctly, okay? In my online drumming course, I will go through step by step how to hold your sticks. But make sure that you have a good solid grip. You're holding your sticks, that you have all 4 of your fingers involved and your thumb in the grip of the stick, so that when you are playing, right, here we go. When you are playing, you can control that stick with your fingers, as well as keep the fulcrum, right, the pivot point here, keep that strong and solid, and use all of your fingers to control that stick. Another foundational thing is our foot technique, how we play the bass drum. Pretend you're riding a bicycle. When we ride a bicycle, we keep our heels up. We're pushing with the ball of our foot, the part of our foot right behind our toes. And that is the point, the area of the foot where we're pushing down on that pedal, and it's coming around, and it's coming around, right? Think of that when you're playing your bass drum pedal. You want your heel slightly up. You want the ball of your foot contacting near the middle of the footboard of the bass drum pedal, and you want to lift your knee up, keeping those toes kind of pointed down, and keeping a little pivot in, but keeping that downward toe pointed as you lift the knee up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay, I'll get into, again, more of this. But these are foundational things that we need to pay attention to. A basic rock beat. Let me play you a basic rock beat. And this is, again, something that we need to get really good and strong at. As basic as it is. Once you play it and you say, okay, I've got it down, and you move on, Go back to it, try to get the speed up, try to really make sure the bass drum is hitting exactly with the hi-hat, the snare drum is hitting exactly with the hi-hat, and it sounds musical and it sounds rhythmic like this. Build that speed up, but make sure that you can play that beat at a steady tempo, play it nice and solid and powerful, and then the speed will come. When we're doing anything regarding technique, the more comfortable we get with something, the faster we are able to play it. So work on those rock beats slowly, like this. Or even slower. Whatever speed you need to play it accurately and on time is fine. Once you get comfortable, the speed will just naturally start to tick up and you'll start to feel more comfortable playing at higher tempos. And then you can start to focus on building your speed. Okay, but only after the foundation is built and you're very strong on your rock beats. Basic fills, basic rudiments, single stroke rolls, double stroke rolls. Another foundational element that we need to build strong to then continue to build our drumming on top of. Single stroke rolls, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Bringing the stick straight up and down. Hitting the same spot on the drum every time. And letting that stick rebound a bit. Keeping your strokes even and sounding similar. Now, just for fun, I sped up, but that was kind of like a simulation. If you start out slow, you get those single stroke rolls, also making sure that the sticks come straight up, pointing to the ceiling. An exaggerated upstroke as we practice and get more comfortable with our single stroke rolls, an exaggerated upstroke and a powerful downstroke. But that was just an accelerated version, right? When I sped the tempo up, that over time your speed will increase and you'll get more comfortable playing faster and faster and faster and faster. But as you're practicing, you want to keep your tempo steady. We want to practice and learn how to keep our tempo steady. Double stroke rolls, paradiddles, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left as a double stroke roll. Using a metronome is very helpful, as that will help to improve our timing and help us to develop an internal clock where we won't have to be playing to a metronome. We won't have to be counting out loud as much because we will be developing our own internal timing. So timing is another foundational element of drumming that we need to work on and we need to improve, okay? So these are the things that we want to be working on constantly. And then the other part is the creativity part. So we also want to leave time for our practice where we are being creative and playing different things to see how they sound, figuring out what our style is, what we like to play, how we like to sound, and things like that. So we have hands, feet, rock beats, rudiments, timing, counting, reading music, which is another element we'll get into very, very soon. Work on the foundational things and make sure we get them strong, because we don't want to build a house on a weak foundation. That's only going to cause problems later on. The entire house might fall down, or at the very least, it will lean to one side. It will, there will be problems if we don't have a solid foundation. So build our drumming a solid foundation first, so that we can add more stories onto it. We can add more levels onto it. We can add so much more stuff. But the foundation has to be strong. I'm going to end on that note. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Please like and subscribe, whatever, you know what to do if you like the content. And I will catch you next time. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all next week.